I'm really ghost. They think he's really ghost. Neighbors think he's really ghost. Ghost. Sway in the morning, shade 4-5. Neighbors think I'm really ghost. That's my man Omari Hardwick. Come on. The neighbors think I'm really ghost. Yo. Omari Hardwick, ladies and gentlemen.
My brother.
I like
Sway.
Man. I miss
Man,
you,
he
Omari.
got to do all Ghost records now. He got to do a joint with Ghostface Killer. He got to do it with Styles P. You know Styles P the Ghost too. We got to just get you Ghost out.
Styles P, Ghostface Killer. Who else
right.
I got to do? I got to do T.I. T.I. played Ghost, right?
Yo, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
You put, but you know what's crazy is Sway does have, man, Sway got, like, he got the vault, HB, so it had to be, if you need any shit from the vault, maybe some of them joints that you just said have already been done with some of them cats. You don't know.
You just don't know. No. Yeah, that's what I didn't want to say nothing. I didn't want to give them game right there. You know, Omari Hardwick is here. I want to talk about Spell because that movie has a whole lot of hidden gems in it when it comes to history. We had a whole conversation about the Appalachian Mountains, the South Mountain, and the Kingdom of Happy Land, and Robert Montgomery, and the utopia that existed for black folks in those Appalachian Mountains, and some of the traditions and rituals that came along the side when came with it when the enslaved folks from Angola was brought to the Virginias, and they had already been indoctrinated and already learned the King's language, and they had these names that they gave them to, and when people start fleeing for the mountains, but all that sexual activity was taking place, and and different folks start fleeing to the mountains. This Spell movie kind of touches on that to me, Omari, and the character you play. I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but first I want to ask you how you been during these times, during this pandemic, and because we were talking early on and we both were going through it. How you been since?
Mm-hmm. I've been really focused, even during, I guess, Sway, for you and me, we kind of know the gasoline never really stops for me and you. So I'm always looking for brothers that kind of operate in the same kind of manner that I do. And so the reason, as much as you said it and stated it, and HP knows this, but as much as the citizens are all learning this, the relationship, notwithstanding me just thinking that you're a cool cat and a very bright brother, which, is always something I gravitate towards. The other thing that you got such a deep soul and such a work ethic. I think people that have that level of work ethic, they excite me, and I think I learned more than ever what my work ethic was. So I'll answer the question by saying that. I always looked at you as having that work ethic. And in the midst of us being handcuffed and sort of all placed in this solitary confinement called quarantine, and dealing, of course, with the world not changing, as you aforementioned, even from the African diaspora and what's presently going on in the Congo, in Nigeria, in other parts of Africa and that beautiful motherland of a continent. We see it in a microcosm right here within our own space with the Black Lives Matter movement and all that happened. And so I was kind of glad, bro, that in the midst of COVID, because that in and of itself was its own sort of dynamicism, that I just had this crazy work ethic that really didn't stop. And I know that you feel the same in the sense that those of us who have big brains and are big team and little I think I can say that analogous to what I'm about to say. It allowed me to sort of get to that space of going, okay, I'm looking at this documentary on Kevin Hart, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him for exposing some things that had to be very hard to expose. I was proud of the British brother, who obviously is of African blood, but the lead actor in the show, All American, and I DM'd him after you and I talked, Sway. I DM'd that cat, and I said, I've been able to binge for the first time in my life and look at some stuff. And, I was proud of the brother who wrote it, who's actually an ex-NFL ball player. And it was loosely about his life. And then all of a sudden I had nothing else to watch, and I'm watching Kevin Hart's documentary again, his sort of life docu, and I thought to myself, which ironically, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. It was an episode when he brought in Chadwick to talk about doing Uptown Saturday Night. Talked to Idris and he talked to Chadwick, and I thought to myself, I said, Kevin and I have always been such admirers of each other's work, and we always talked about getting together. Why don't I actualize that? And what happened, man, was the focus and the work ethic again that I was reminded that I had. It granted me, quarantine granted me the opportunity to take advantage of these moments where everybody's sort of all the busy people. Sway, who's hard to catch up to. Kevin Hart, who's hard to catch up to. I was all of a sudden able to catch up to them. So that was a great moment to go, yo, Kev, I'm watching and I'm super proud, but why haven't we worked together yet? It's kind of like Sway, the last time I was there with you and HB, and Tyler Perry sat there with me, you, and Tika, and he said, hey, I'm trying to teach ownership, and I'm trying to teach the big team, little I concept. And I thought to myself, well, Sway and I naturally have it. Heather B naturally has it. Y'all root for the culture. You're not trying to hurt or defame anybody. You're trying to maximize and not minimize. And in the midst of us being minimized to a fucking whatever quarantine was, I started maximizing my thoughts. And it actually graduated me, bro, to a place that I don't really see any looking back. I think I've kind of broken through something that, as much as you knew I had a level of gifts where I felt that you, as a big brother of mine, often were frustrated that I hadn't really gone, it's mine.
Yeah.
And whatever that means in terms of it being mine is only analogous to the oxygen mask being put on myself so I can help a bigger group of people or other castmates or other young brothers and sisters or Kevin Hart to be able to sort of add to his phenomenal, iconic brand. Whatever that may be, bro, I think quarantine allowed for a guy like me who is about the marathon, about the gasoline, about the work ethic, but often not necessarily about embracing how big I am. That's a problem for me.
Yeah.
And I think quarantine, I think it led to me finally going, all right, I get it. If I'm hearing your voice from afar, Sway, or people like you, the archetype of who you are, really telling me that it's time for me to own my shit and really, really put my feet in it and not be apologetic for it, as my pop said for years, to not be. I think quarantine afforded me that. So there's my answer to that question.
Beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. Omari Hardwick.
Wow.
I love it. And how about Kerry Washington even feeding into that energy? Even Kerry Washington assisted it.
It was
right.
She did a great job of I didn't know what to feel oftentimes as the guy. And then I started to embrace being the guy, and then sometimes that gets met with pushback, and you know that Sway.
Yeah.
And so and Heather, you as a black woman, you know it more than Sway and I.
Yeah.
The pushback,
Tracy too.
and I felt that. Yeah, absolutely, bro. And I kind of looked at it from a standpoint of we were just backstage on a show that we were both on, and we were backstage, and she simply gave me a look of like, that can never happen again. I said, no, I get it. And she was like, yeah, but the way that you avoid that is, you put yourself in position to be able to make that decision, not have it being made for you. You make it, and I thought, wow. So she doesn't know until I said that on Sway in the Morning, and all the citizens can hear me. And shout outs to ATL and all the citizens that are there, because that city raised me, in Oakland and obviously New York and LA, and what it's meant to all of us. I think about the fact that these people listen to these interviews and they go, especially the young people. I mean, we tell them to go vote, but honestly, Sway and HB, how can we tell them to go vote about policy if we don't, within our own self, carry a level of policy? And Carrie was really telling me, like, be a policy to yourself. Vote on you, bet on you. Oof. And that was one of the great pieces of moments I ever had. She didn't give it to me in the form of advice. She simply stated it, and I said, okay, this is on you, either to grab it or to ignore it. And I grabbed it, and I appreciate. I can't believe that you had her on for me to say that.
Man.
I heard.
Let me do this to you, because something happening for you today, and we're just vessels. We're just conduits, Omari. And, me and you, we kindred spirits as brothers. But it's not just Kerry Washington. It's not just your revelation, but Loretta Devine. Loretta Devine has some things. And we had her on this show, and I said, we're going to have this brother on. What would you like to say to him? And this is what Loretta Devine said.
I guess I would ask him, is he ever going to produce his own vehicle, which is one of the hardest things to do, I think, in show business, because they don't usually let actors cross that line. does he plan to try to get some of his own things produced? Because he has so much stuff that people haven't heard or haven't seen.
Wow.
That's his co-star in the movie Spell, which is out on Friday across the board, Apple TV, Amazon Primes. We talked about it yesterday, Google Play. Omari.
That was yesterday, Sway. Do he understand that? With no idea that the conversation with Kerry and all that was going to happen at the same time. She said that yesterday. Crazy. Spirit is crazy.
You
man.
hear that calling, Omari? Oh, you hear that?
Yeah, and I'm kind of in tears, so I'm gonna just chill for a minute and let you and HB talk. I'm just kind of in tears for a minute.
Yeah. Omari Hardwick is here, and we have Loretta Devine, and this is our brother right here, who's playing opposite of him. She plays Eloise in this movie, and it's a movie about a young man who went to the Appalachia. His father passed away, but he had to really confront his history, his legacy, his bloodline, his family, and it ran really deep. And you start finding out about a lot of traditions that our people brought over from Africa. And Omari nails it, kills the role. Go ahead, Heather.
I was going to say, and citizens, listen, Sway gave a really poor start to his history lesson on all of this yesterday and bored me half to sleep, trying to break this down. Thank God for Loretta Devine and all the citizens that called up with so much information.
That's not true, Omari.
Amari, Sway was a horrible professor for like 6 minutes. Then you find out this beautiful history about the film y'all made. Oh, my gosh. Sway was like,
that's not true, Omari. That's not true. Heather was just that student in class. Heather only showed up on test day and winged it. That's her problem.
On test day. This is hilarious.
I wing it.
Well, first, shout out to Daniel Ezra, who played. That's the British actor you were speaking of from.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, from the All American series.
Okay.
But well, I wanted to touch on it, HB, because it's really about the movie, but there's the undercurrent is the traditions, the rituals, what a boogity is, what hoodoo is.
Yes.
The culture of hoodoo. Folks don't know what that is, and then the thing with Hollywood, it always stigmatizes it in a way where it makes it monstrous. Like it's always, this happens to be kind of the genre, but most Hollywood stigmatizes it where it makes it seem like it's the dark evil or something to that effect.
That's right.
That's not the history of this culture. That's not the.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and so I love that you were playing this role. But what did you think about what Loretta Devine said to you?
There was a moment, Sway, where I realized that my appreciation, and it's always been there no matter what the job, and you're specifically appreciative for different things within a space. I think about your years on MTV, Sway, and you can be appreciative to Viacom for whatever as the auspices or umbrella, and then MTV for whatever, and then Sirius for whatever, and your upbringing and environment of that, which it includes the dark shit, the street shit, the educated shit, all of it coming together to become this amalgamation of all that's made you. And I thought about my career when I was around her on set for the first time, because I hadn't necessarily, outside of a name I'm going to give you an HB, speaking of history, that you and Heather B will absolutely be happy that I state, and that being my work with Glenn Turman. I had so much of a honor and a level of respect for Glenn Turman my entirety of life. As far back as Cooley High, but in between, and everything else that he did for our culture. That's specific for our culture. But I was so appreciative for the people that I was on set with that had come prior and being a history of this craft that I didn't want to play with. After the NFL said, okay, your craft as a football player has run its course, which Sway and I talked a lot about, HB, me being a former athlete, and that being inserted in all my characters, which makes it different from me auditioning against my colleagues, no matter how gifted they are. My shit is really different. It's a poet meets an athlete meets an actor. That's crazy.
Right.
So I don't feel it so crazy or so misunderstood, HB and Sway. Shout out to Nina Simone, because she nailed it. Oftentimes we feel not as lonely as we are misunderstood. You might not necessarily feel lonely. You just feel misunderstood. And for the first time ever, bro, outside of Ben Turman. Kevin Costner a bit on the Guardian, because of obviously his storied career even at that point, but especially playing Ellie in this, for me, that did it for me when I was a kid watching that. But when working with Loretta, I thought about that moment in season 6 where Courtney said, I'm going to give you Glenn Turman. And you kind of asked for Glenn, and I'm going to give you Glenn. And I said, this is awesome. And I think the reason that I needed that, Sway and HB, was because those types of actors, particularly if they're colored black like me, what they give you is that thing that you're always looking for as a young black boy or young black girl, in particular within this place called America. And some of us get it at home, but so many of us don't get it. And what that is you're looking for permission to be great enough or to embrace being great enough or unique enough or skilled enough or crafted enough or bright enough to be able to set in motion creativity and curating projects for other people, not just for yourself, and not just waiting by the phone as an actor, which to me, an actor can almost be made analogous, since you talked about, and Heather, you said it even through humor. You said, Sway started out with the course yesterday as a professor that wasn't necessarily nailing it, but today in the introduction, he definitely nailed it in terms of what the Appalachian thing has meant, what hoodoo has meant, what voodoo has meant, the difference between the two, what happened either on the Henrietta Marie or any other boat or ship that brought us here. When you think about it from that space, you have in these people like a Loretta Devine, when she states that on Sway in the morning, and the citizens get to hear that, what she's given me is what I was always needing from Glenn Turman or from her, which is, at home I got permission from my pops to not be apologetic for my gifts. But the problem is, once you actually get into the arena called that which God called you to, you then need permission again, because you're now in an arena where the people that came before you, which I love about LeBron James, he's such a student of who's come before him, and he honors them. I love that about LeBron. Equally, that was always me. I feel misunderstood oftentimes because of it. But in reality, it's the confidence in knowing that you bring something to the table that they already started, and you wouldn't be at the table without them. So when you look at a Loretta, you go, hey, Loretta, without asking you, let me speak through telepathy while we're on set, and you damn near trying to bring me to my demise, but you're motherly and matronly in every other role, so the world's going to see you in a different light than you've ever been seen. Yeah, we got a prior relationship, but can you, in the midst of action and cut, can you sort of, telepathically give me permission to, from this point on, not just become a leading man of the future at the level that you think I could become, but to go to this place where I can curate and create projects, not just for me, but bountiful, hefty, of all genres, types of projects that other people who look like me most imperatively can get down in. And, bro, to hear her almost answer my question that I was telepathically asking, she answered it on you and Heather B's question. She answered it. She basically just said, yes, hell yes, and F yes. Like, go do it. Go be that. Yeah. Go be all those things that we felt, we the elders from this community, Denzel, Pauletta, myself, Felicia Rashad, Glenn Turman, all of these, Michael Beach, Eric LaSalle, Phil Duke, any of these people that have touched you, your career. Shout outs to Jeff Friday, who runs, obviously, as you know, Sway ABFF. All of these people who are elders who look like me and you, Sway, and me and you, Heather B, they have basically stated this to me, and I never had it from Loretta Devine until that moment, where now I'm hearing her on y'all's interview, and she's basically going, yeah, man, go do it. Like, figure out how to do it. Don't ask me so many, questions in the future, because I want this moment of us being in South Africa together, I want this to be your answer. So you don't need to telepathically ask me again. Here's my answer. And I'm blown away by those moments where you conjure somebody giving you permission, and then without even literally asking them, bro, they give it to you.
Omari Hardwick, conjure. That's a powerful word right there, brother. Ooh, that's a powerful word right there. Oh, I'm loving it. It's not enough time in the day. Tracy, you want to say something, Omari?
Yeah, absolutely. I love listening to Omari. I love the stories that you guys swap, HB, Sway, Omari. I'm wondering if there is a piece of advice that you once used to take as gold, but then you outgrew it as you got older. Your wisdom showed you that advice actually expired.
Wow. Damn, Trace.
That's a great question.
Sway and HB, why y'all let Trace come up from the basement? Y'all let him come out of the basement, came to the main floor, and now this Negro's asking this, what the hell is going on?
He said he already cried, Tracy. You want more tears?
I love tears, yo. Tears for breakfast.
Come on, man. We got snipers on this team, kid.
I know, snipers, bro. So I'll say this. There was a moment where I kind of I thought to myself, you can go at a place where your pace is pretty steady. You get a lot of friends telling you, and this is deep, Trace, and this is for us as a culture, man. This is so true. Mm-hmm. You get people telling you, "Oh, it's a marathon. It's a marathon, oh." Yo, what about this person over here? Yeah, but you know what? I don't know how long theirs will last. Maybe theirs is a sprint, but yours is a marathon. My specific journey as an actor, maybe your whole journey as a person is a marathon. And they say it so much, Trace, that it becomes almost, I'll use what Sway said. Obviously, Sway was talking more about the actual sexualization that happened within our people during that transition from our native land into America. But I'll use the prefix of it. It becomes, Tracy, almost sexy. It's sexy almost. I'm on the marathon. And over time, you hear, Nipsey figure it out as a moniker, and it becomes almost not just something that he lives by mantra-wise, but also it becomes the actual brand of his clothing line, right? Marathon. And you start thinking about it, and you go, yeah, but if I get an opportunity to speak to all the kids in the world, and I round them all up, all 7 continents and beyond, and I round them all up, and I get an opportunity, let's say 30 minutes, simply to tell them one thing, I would say this. I was too caught up in the romanticism of, yes, the marathon. The turtle always wins the race. The hare doesn't really win the race, that being a rabbit, right? The turtle wins the race. But I got so caught up in it, Trace, that at times, in the midst of that, I was missing the moments, full circle, to this whole conversation, to Carrie's point, to the rhetoric given, it's not necessarily asked, but the rhetoric given and spoken between HB, yourself, and Sway, with, of course, Loretta, the rhetoric of, hey, can Omari go do this, that, and the third? I would say this to him. I would ask him this. Full circle. What happened a lot of times in me not giving myself permission or embracing whatever, and I wouldn't say lazy, because nobody could ever epitaph, my burial with that of being a lazy human being, but I definitely feel like there were times that it was too of romanticism in that thought or that construct of marathon that I kind of was like, I'm okay. It's a marathon. Oh, I'm number 4 on the call sheet. I'm cool. I'll get to number 1. It's a marathon. You know what, Trace? At some point, you have to define what the marathon is for yourself.
Yes.
I was making the marathon that which is defined as the marathon. And who the fuck is Webster? I don't know who the fuck Webster is. So sometimes you got these damn definitions from people, and you're like, I don't know who the fuck Webster is. I never met Webster. So why should I go with the construct of what the define, the definition of what that is? The defined word is a formal definition that I don't necessarily have to get down with. And so in the last, I would say, Sway said I'm hitting on something, perhaps within this quarantine, but I would say pre that. I would say getting around Congressman Lewis and watching him literally do what he did in 80 years on this earth. And it was like an amalgamation of sprinting, marathoning. In 80 years, he did the work of somebody who's been on the earth for 280 years. And so in my mind, I'm like, man, you know what? You got to define what marathon is for yourself. And so when young kids, within that 30-minute conversation, go, Mr. Omari, what took you so long to get here? My pops used to say, smile, wink at the crowd, and say, I got here as quick as I could. But you know what? Sometimes you can't really rock with that one. Sometimes you got to go, you're right. I don't know what took me so long. I guess it was my bullshit. And that's what I would say. You got to throw away that thought of like, oh, marathon, I'll get there when I get there. No, because you know what? Especially black people, And brown people, we've been saying we'll get there when we get there forever. You got to make it get there.
Facts. Thank you.
We waiting on the afterlife.
That's a great question, though.
Yeah, that was an awesome question. Tracy G, you know
Amazing
where you at.
answer.
Oh, you know where you at. That's the vibe here, man.
I know where you at.
You know where you
at, bro.
Okay.
I'm telling you, man.
That's the vibe. Let me tell you this, too, since we tripping you out. Hold on one second. My sister sent me something yesterday. My sister is someone I think you should meet sometime soon. Oh, and
okay.
you'll know why when you meet her. But she told me, let me see, where did she send this? Let me see where my sister sent this. She told me, I said, she's a big fan of yours, right? And she said, who you got on the show tomorrow? I said, I got Omari on the show. And she went on this thing, Omari, and I'll share it with you on air. She went on, I won't get into too much detail. I'll call you after later and talk about it. She said, we're bridged together. I said, come on, G. My sister studied genealogy, so she could find a connection to me, you, Heather, and her pot and pan. She's that good. We might be related to the pot and pan. That's how good she is.
Wow.
She'll tell you your whole story. You know what I mean? But your story, not their story, and you lived in their world. And so she was telling me, she's like, Omari and our auntie, my first auntie, rest in power, Celia, who introduced me to the Rastafarian way of life, and along with other things, is when I started my locks, was in a movie, and she was looking her up recently. And the movie was called Everyday Black Man.
Oh, bro. What?
Wow.
Yeah, bro.
Wait, so your aunt was in the movie with me? She was with us?
She's in the credits. She goes by Celia Waters. I'm not sure if she acted opposite of you, but I got a clip of a scene. It's a woman with locks in her hair. It wasn't a big role, but you'll know her if you see her. Real peaceful woman. Crazy, and she sent me that connection. And so, you got a lot of energy around you right now, brother. And I'm very, because I know you ready for it. I know I can hear it in your voice. You know what to do with it now. So when you speak about being able to really maximize your thoughts by being, centered during the pandemic, I totally get it. Your voice sounds 100% different than it sounded 6 or 7 or 8 months ago. And so there's something going on with you. Oh, I love it. I like the way it feels. Give me a round of applause. I like what it feels like. Hey, we got Terrell on the line.
I'm clapping with the citizens.
Yeah, man. Let's clap. Is it Terrell or Terrell?
Terrell.
Terrell from Orlando. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
Oh, man. Heather B, Sway, it's an honor and a privilege to be on with you guys. I listen to you every morning. I just want to say that first. You too, Tracy, Mike Muse, wherever you guys are at. Omari, I'm not sure if you remember me. I'm sure you hear that line a lot. But I was Ike in Barbecue when you first started out.
What's up, Terrell?
I just wanted to say hello, man. I just want to say to the world.
I absolutely remember you, bro. I remember your face and everything. Wow, bro.
This is one of the most genuine brothers the world is ever going to meet. Ever since I've known this brother, he's been saying the same thing, talking the same way, moving the same way. And there are a lot of cats who get to a point in their career, their lives, and they're faking it. This brother's not faking it. He's very real. He's very genuine. And I applaud you for all you've done as far as your career, your activism. I saw how you defended your wife when that went down. I've been watching and following. And there's a lot of people that we watch and we follow out there that we shouldn't be watching and following. But you're one of those. I want the world to know. This black man right here, if you want to model yourself after anyone who's not your father, uncle, member of your family, or friend, that this is a brother to be a role model right here. And I just wanted to say that, brother. I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Wow.
That means so much to me, bro. We got to figure it out when I get. Where are you? You back in the A or you're in New York? Where are you?
No, I'm in Orlando now, brother. I'm in Orlando now. I'm just so happy for you, man. And just to hear you sitting there and the way you speak, he's so eloquent. He's so intelligent. And like he said, he used to be an athlete. That was a big boy. I used to give him a ride when we would do our little thing when we were acting. And that was a big boy. He could have been in the NFL, but to see an athlete who's so, I don't want to say well-spoken, because we got so many that are well-spoken, but you almost make me feel like at some point you're going to be a politician. And I mean that in the most positive way. And when that time comes, you have my full support, brother.
Wow.
I'm just so proud of you as a black man. Sway, Brother B, you guys too. This is about Omari right now, but you guys too. The things you guys do in our community, I love it. I love to see that type of black empowerment and us lifting each other up, because we've been talking about what's wrong in our communities for so long, but we haven't been doing anything about it. And it's easy to give that lip service, but to put something into action the way you guys have done, it's not easy for everybody, and I applaud you guys for that.
Thank you.
And I've gotten long-winded, so thank you.
Nah, Terrell, it's all love, man. Wow. Maybe y'all, maybe y'all got to DM each other. I don't know. Or maybe it was just meant for Terrell to touch base.
I absolutely remember him. HB and Sway, yo.
Yeah.
So barbecue was this little joint that I did when trying to figure out the transition of getting cut from the league and like really embracing like the actor thing. And I was doing theater, and really cutting my teeth in theater. But this opportunity came, and we did this movie, man. We did it in the canals of, I always say the canals of ATL, that being Southwest Atlanta, right? The real hallway of where the Black Regalia was started, around the AU Center. We shot it right around there in Cascade, which has a lot of old black money and old black significance, and we shot it, and I absolutely remember Terrell. And I remember thinking, man, this nigga's voice is phenomenal. That's what I remember thinking. Like, his voice is amazing.
You hear that, Terrell?
And then now,
yeah, I appreciate that, brother.
His voice is phenomenal. And now to hear Terrell become what he's become, and to know that, and we are going to get in contact with each other, because Terrell, I'm going to surprise you with letting you know how close I am physically to you right now. I ain't but 3 hours from you, bro.
That's crazy.
Yes. So I will find you. We will sit down. Even if we got to wear the mask, we'll chop it up. And there's no accident when you come on, Sway in the morning with HB and Trace. And then for this to be the energy that Sway said, he feels like I'm hitting the button up, and for you to then hit the button and get patched in and add to this conversation, bro, I gotta find you. I gotta find you, man. I'm very honored. I'm very humble. I'm glad I represent you.
Does anybody else get chills listening to this brother talk?
Yeah, I got chills right now. My whole
right,
arm
feel
like I got bumps on my arms right now.
Be great, brother. Be great.
Hey, this what I did. I wrote down Terrell's number, Omari. I'll give it to you.
All right, I got it. Okay,
there it is.
Man. I'm gonna follow you, Terrell. I'm proud of you, bro. God bless you, black man.
All right, all right, Terrell, you're a citizen, brother.
Sway in the morning.
All right, appreciate it. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy your holiday.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
With that sexy voice, brother. Trying to turn somebody on.
He said he tried. I thought he was trying to take somebody's job with that voice, man. He put
that voice overworked.
He put the voice on.
Woman. He tried to take somebody's woman with that voice.
Dude. I just want to say, Omari, man, that dude, that dude had muscles.
Give it to him, baby. Sway daddy. You know what, HP? When Sway does that voice from here out, Trace and HP, we're going to call him Sway Daddy.
There you go.
Oh, gosh, don't give Sway no more gas.
Say my name, Heather. Say my name, Heather. Say my name.
Oh, go away. Hey,
love you, brother. I say that publicly. I say that with pride. I'm proud of you. I'm here. We are here. We're waiting. We are waiting to follow your lead. And listen, go in it unapologetically. Don't second guess anything you feel first.
I got you.
That's
that
voice.
You, Sway. I got you, HB. Okay. And Trace, they let you out from the basement, shawty. You can't go nowhere now, Trace. You up from the basement.
Yeah, she thought that. Hey,
I'm here now.
Hey, Tracy was in the towers. Just she had you on her scope. Hey, don't forget
I was aiming.
She was aiming. Spell is an amazing movie. Get a chance to watch it this Friday. It's coming out. Omari Hardwick, man, thank you again, brother, and I'll reach out to you, okay?
Turn the game, boy.